What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Egocentric, and we have a whole lot of news to jump into today. Injury news. Jaire Alexander is retired. I guess you can call it that at this point. And we have a whole lot more to jump into. Man, let's stop wasting time. Let's get right to it. Egocentric.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. He's at the 20. They should stop this one.
Domination! Snot bubbles!
He throws. Complete. Touchdown. They've got him again. They've got him again. Sack Crumpler. What a throw. What a hit. What a catch.
The defense is just way too much for the count.
It's caught by Alshon Jeffrey for a touchdown. He pushes. Touchdown. Jalen Hunt. Touchdown. A.J. Brown. A run. He's going to score. It's a touchdown by Nick Foles. The train is in the end zone. Touchdown. Torrey Smith in for the touchdown as Jeffrey's in. Touchdown. Jalen Hunt.
I really have an issue with the birds. And it's not, matter of fact, let me rephrase that. I came into this show hot. Let me make sure I cool myself down a little bit, because it's not really the birds that I have an issue with. It's these players, these veteran players, these former superstar players treating the birds, or NovaCare facility, I might add, like a retirement home. Why do I say that? Because this has been happening too much lately. I can't remember the player in 2023 who came. He was on the practice squad. He ended up retiring. He was a veteran. His name. I can't remember at the moment. But then Zadarius Smith earlier this season, at the time being the only rusher on the defensive line that had the most sacks. The only rusher on the defensive line who had the most sacks was Jaire Smith before he decided to up and retire. And now here we have it with another guy in Jaire Alexander. But now here we have it, and it sucks because Jaire said he needs to get right physically and mentally, meaning that, the physical toll that has the injury has taken a physical toll on him, right? And whatever that injury is, I think it's his knee, it's starting to bother him mentally. And this means that the Birds totally underestimated what that injury was. Like, they probably saw it and didn't think it was that bad. He probably didn't think it was that bad until they got out there and Jaire went to moving around, and then he probably was like, oh no. So because he said that he needs to get right mentally, this is football. It's just a game. There's things bigger than the game, right? There's things way bigger than the game, which is mental health, things like that. So salute to Jaire. I hope he comes back soon, or even if he doesn't get back soon, I hope he gets his mental health in check, gets his mental health in order, get back back in physical condition the way he wants to be. But back to the football part of this, back to the business side of this, and just looking at it here, Howie and the Birds just didn't know fully about the severity of this injury. He didn't play in one game. Actually, reportedly, he was supposed to be playing in that Green Bay game that he got ruled out in, like the day of or the day before. And like I said, I have an issue with players treating the NovaCare facility like it's a retirement facility, like it's a retirement home. It's like we totally gave up good draft capital for nothing, literally nothing. I've seen some jokes online that were like, the Ravens sent Jaire as a basically like a spy. Yeah, take their capital and yeah, I'm out of here, deuces. I don't want to play for you guys. But no, in all honesty, we totally missed on this. And like I said, I wish Jaire all salute to Jaire. I hope he gets everything back in check, everything he needs to get back in check. But damn, what could have been. And we spoke about this also, that this was going to be a low risk, high reward anyway. So the fact that we lost Jaire and he didn't get to play and we lost some draft capital is a punch in the gut, but it's also not much. It isn't something that we can't overcome. It's not like we gave away a first round pick for a superstar and he retired. That would be horrible. But like I said, this is bigger than the game. Things are bigger than the game. So you always want to give these players are human first. So you always want to give these players your salute for, first of all, putting their everything, life, physical health in the future and everything on the line just to entertain us as fans. So the fact that he knows, I honestly respect him a little bit more because this guy was a all-pro once upon a time. This guy was like one of the best cornerbacks in the league, top 5. Right. And the fact that he understands, like, I'm not of that caliber anymore, and I'm not even going to trot that out on the field. I respect him for that, because these guys do have a legacy at the end of the day. And he has a lot of ties to Philly. At least, that's something cool. He was born in Philadelphia. His mom's from Philadelphia. So, salute to Jaire, man. And hopefully how we can get some draft capital to compensate for that, because this is getting weirder and weirder. And this is not anything towards Jaire. It's just like we've been seeing this happen for so long. Players come and then they retire. What the hell is going on? But once again, salute to Jaire. Salute to Jaire. Now, we have a great problem at linebacker, something that we haven't really spoken about here, but we do. We have a great problem at linebacker, and thank God Jaire Campbell, rookie linebacker from Georgia, isn't going on live streams calling the defense a shit show, because his play time has decreased since the return of Nakobe Dean, and there is a huge reason why, because Nakobe Dean, since he's returned, has the run defense looking planets better, worlds better. It just looks much better. It's a total difference on the run defense, and it's showing in the numbers, because when you look at it right here, just looking at the numbers, Nakobe Dean is affecting the run defense in all of the best ways, because the Eagles' run defense numbers before linebacker and Dean's return in games through weeks 1 through 6, it was the defense defending 173 rushes, allowing 806 yards on a 4.66 average. But since Dean's return, the run defense through weeks 7 through 9, the defense has defended only 71 rushes, allowing only 261 yards on just 3.68 average, which is 102 less rushes and 545 less rushing yards allowed by the run defense, which is a clear indication of Dean's huge defensive presence. Now, although rookie linebacker Jaire Campbell has less snaps, he still get in where he fit in. You got to remember, he's a rookie, so he'll still have that time. And just the fact that he's sitting behind Nakobe Dean, who's on his way to becoming a veteran great linebacker for the Birds. And if Dean keeps it up, just think about this. And this is how I was looking at it, and I was thinking about it earlier. Like, Jaire Campbell, who's set to be a great linebacker in the future if he stays on the right track, is sitting behind a great linebacker already in Nakobe Dean. If he sits behind Nakobe Dean and that linebacker room is already great and just gets those pointers and learn from Dean, and he learns how to be a great player on the field, how to be a great player off the field, and how to be a great player to the point where you can go get you a contract for this same franchise that drafted you. In the full developmental stage of draft, develop, contract, it'll be all complete, because he'll have that example basically right in front of him in Dean. And because the way Dean is playing right now, we know we might not give him up. We might, in the beginning of the season, we were like, the injury and we might not see him, out of sight, out of mind. No, Dean has came back and he has the run defense looking much better. And if he stays on this track, along with Zach Bond, who's already great in coverage, already great against the run, already great, period, intense linebacker in his own right, I don't think the Birds give up Nakobe Dean. I think if anything, they give him another contract. Him and Jalen Carter be the two defensive players that have the biggest contracts on the team in this offseason. And hey, I think that'll be a great formula for the rookie Jihad. Because right now, we don't need Jihad to do a lot. And with Fangio, he's still going to put him in those places, put him in those spots, put him in position to win. It's not like Fangio's going to keep him on the sideline. And no, because Jihad Campbell is great in coverage. He's all right against the run. But there's still some things that you can do with Jihad. He has so many great intangibles about him. Left or right on the field. He gets it. And the more that he sits behind other great veteran, linebackers, then the sky's the limit for him. So I'm not rushing Jihad to get on the field and be the starter for the Birds, especially when we see, as I just said, the run defense has taken a huge leap forward. And I don't want to interfere with that. And Fangio already knows Jihad Campbell's capabilities, and he knows Nakobe Dean's capabilities, which is why I just said earlier, he's going to still put him in position to win. Is Jihad Campbell going to be a great linebacker in the future for the Birds? Of course. But as of now, Nakobe Dean is back. Philly dog. Now, the Birds probably got some of the best news today, which was the entire 53-man roster is probably healthy now. They're looking to be healthy. At least that's some of the reports that we got today. The entire 53-man roster took the practice field with no reported injuries, which is the best news as the Birds got to gear up and host the Lions. They're coming into the link. This is not one of those games that we can just, sleep on. This is going to be a good game. A lot of fun on Sunday. We're going to do our breakdowns tomorrow, so that's going to be even more exciting. But, we got a lot of our guys back, including guys like Cam Jurgens. And Cam Jurgens, although he was a limited participant yesterday at practice, he was practicing today. He was from the reports that I've seen and from what I was looking at, he had a knee brace on, and that's probably one of the biggest things. That's some of the biggest news that the Birds have right now. Getting our center Cam Jurgens back. He's been facing this knee injury and a back injury and all these other injuries this season. He missed 2 games already. And, we need Cam. We need all hands on deck, like I said before. All hands on deck for this Sunday night game. This game right here is really going to be like, in my last video I said it's like the Rams game. But honestly, the way that the offense has been playing and how everyone wants to compare this season and everything else to the 2023 season, this is more like that San Francisco 49ers game, right? Where your team has been struggling. One side of the ball has been struggling. The other side is, doing what they can and dominating, matter of fact, because in 2023, the defense sucked and the offense was good. And the offense wasn't good all the time. The offense did what they can. But in this season, the defense is dominating. And the offense is, finding ways to win, which is good, but we have to be much better. And like I've seen on some of these platforms and like everyone's saying, we have too many unalivers on our team to be going out there playing like this conservative, playing not to lose football, and Jalen talked about that on national TV after the Rams game. So Jurgens coming back is going to be a huge piece that we need for Sunday night, and it's not going to be a cakewalk, right? And if we can get after Jared Goff has shut the run game down, then this probably will be one of our statement games. Like I said in the past, this could be a statement game for the Birds. Saquon burst for a lot of yards, and then Jalen and AJ finally get connecting, and the offense get in sync, and everything is shut up in Philly. Everybody's shut up in Philly because if we dominate this team, And, this is the NFL. You don't just go in there, you beat a team 70-3. It's not college football. But if we dominate this team, at least win by 2 touchdowns or 17 points, that would be a statement win for the Birds. And, everyone that's been questioning the Birds over these past couple of weeks and all season, honestly, are going to have to hush. It's going to have to be quiet. All of the noise is going to have to, but, Jurgens coming back is going to be a big need. We need that. But there is some more news around that because although he did practice, Jurgens told the media he's feeling good, but he still isn't sure if he's going to play on Sunday. That was Dave Zangaro, Eagles insider. And like I said, Jurgens has already missed 2 games. And I was kind of advocating for him to sit down in some of these games because if the injuries were getting worse, he had a back injury coming into the season. He had a surgery in the offseason. And he hadn't really fully 100% gotten over that injury. So I was kind of advocating for him to, sit out a couple of games, get healthy. We had that bye week. He sat out 2 games plus the bye week, which is kind of like 3 if you ask me. And, he should be fine now. At least 90%, 80%. You want to get him, to the point where he's comfortable on the field. Jurgens told the media, when you're on the field, you're 100% because you got to play. Once you take the field, you have to play, and there's no more excuses. So if he's going to take the field, he's going to play, and we're expecting Jurgens to come out there and play at a high level because the offensive line has been struggling, and we know they're banged up, but they have been struggling, which has been impacting the run game, which has been making Saquon struggle, and everything has been a little out of sync. So this Sunday, Sunday night is going to be one of those games where, there's no more out of sync. You have to be in sync because the Lions are coming to dominate. And I've been seeing a lot of people say, the Lions feel like the Birds took their Super Bowl. I could care less about what they feel like. The 49ers felt the same way, though. And they carried that on to the next season. We were slacking. We were soft. And they came into the link. I remember they came into the link with all black. They dominated. You got to be honest. They dominated. And we don't need that this year. Honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. We're a totally different team from 2023. We don't have that pedigree of players anymore. The pedigree of players that we have now are dogs. These guys are hard body. You're not dominating. You're not bullying anyone on this team. Unless the team folds and they quit. And we've seen it before. But this team is not known for doing that. This is a Vic Fangio defense, and it's going to be a hard-nosed game. And I'm happy that we have Nolan Smith back, and I'm happy that we have Jalen Phillips because these guys are going to get after the quarterback. That, like I said, is going to be one of the key things that the Birds have to do in order to, stop, in order to stop this Lions offense. In order to make this offense one-dimensional, we're going to have to get after Jared Goff. We have to stop the run game, which the Birds have been really good at, but they do have a 2-headed back, and they're very, very risky on offense. They go for it on fourth and short. And, the Lions are very, very risky on offense. They'll go for it on 4th and short, or sometimes on their own if analytics or if Dan is just feeling that way. So they're going to be coming into the link trying to bully us, and we have to take a stand. Like I said yesterday, we have to take a stand, and I believe this is the game where the Birds take a stand. And I watched Brody. Shout out to Brody. Brody said, what Eagles team do you think you're going to get today? And I have to believe that the Eagles team that I think I'm going to get on Sunday, are going to be a hard-nosed, dominant football team. Defensively and on offense, they're going to shut everybody up and get back rolling. I believe that. I have to believe that because they haven't shown me anything otherwise. They haven't shown the opposite in the past year or two. They've been dominant. When it gets a little noisy in Philly, we know Jalen always shuts the critics up. So these are the games that, the Birds are kind of made for. These are the games that we as Philly fans are, we rub our hands and we want these matchups here. These are the matchups that give us all of the bragging rights. And NFC conference #1 seed. This is the matchup that determines everything here. Similar to the Washington game last year, and this year we're gonna have to take it. We're gonna have to take it. We have it already, but we're gonna have to strong arm it, keep it, because they're gonna try to take it. And pause. But you know what I mean. Thank you guys for watching, man. It's always fun talking to you guys about the Birds. You know, this is Eaglecentric. Like I said, tomorrow breakdowns and everything else, we're gonna get right into it. No, we're not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get right into the breakdowns tomorrow. And yeah, man. Eaglecentric. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. You guys have a routine, man. Love you guys. And as always, be blessed. Go Birds.